Hey everyone, it's Terry with Terry's Tidbits, and in this video we are really doing a planning session for 2024. So we did this in January and it was very, very well received. And if you're another user group leader and you're curious about how we go about putting together our events, please take a look at how we did this. You might find this helpful. If you'd like some information about how I did it, or have a list of the questions and the surveys that I used during this video, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help other user group leaders. But this is our approach, and it was, again, very, very well received. Take a listen to what the Des Moines group is interested in learning over the year 2024. Hey everyone, it's Terry with Terry's Tidbits. I am so glad you're here. This will be a little bit of a different kind of user group. We're mostly kind of capturing some information from you to kind of better prep for the coming year. And so this will be fun, I think, to get your input. So I'm hopeful you'll all behave differently than normal and unmute yourself and talk to us. We do have a poll that we'll run through as well to kind of hopefully capture and some insight from you all as well. But we do want this to be as interactive as possible. Or the trick, and Matt and Jerome, you guys know this, or you're learning it. The trick is coming up with content that helps everybody with where they're at, because everybody is at different places in their career, in their knowledge of Salesforce, what they're working on, what they need help with. And so we want to try to come up with a method that keeps this time worth showing up for, if that makes sense. So please do share your feedback as we go through some of this today. And I keep seeing people come in, so I'm kind of stalling just a little bit to make sure we've got a good group. But that's in essence what our game plan is here for today. I don't know that it'll take our full hour. I'm happy to hang out and chat with you guys for a full hour if you have specific questions. But this is really more of an information sharing session today. But Clarissa and I did get together earlier this month, and we came up with a schedule with some various topics that we thought you might have some interest in. And I want to run through a poll here in a little bit to see what your thoughts are on some of those. But one of the other things that we had talked about is that you're familiar with the Terry's Tidbits model that we had maybe several years ago, where Terry got up and just shared a quick little 5-minute blurb of, hey, did you know you could do X in Salesforce? And we discontinued that primarily because it was getting a little difficult to come up with something creative enough to share. And so at least in a 5-minute blurb. So we came up with the idea this year of what about changing that concept into something more like a Trailblazer's Tidbits, to where we actually have you all share a tidbit. We've done that. We've done an entire session that way once, where we had asked several of you to do a quick little tidbit, and we made an entire session of those. I don't know if you remember that from, it's probably been it. Might have been over 2 years ago now, but I remember that was at one of our on-sites at Holmes Murphy. We did that. And so what our thought is that on our quarterly meetings, when we meet for the 2-hour window, is that we would have a Trailblazer tidbit section where any of you interested in doing a quick little 5-10 minute session could share your idea with the group. It's fairly easy. It's unscripted most of the time to do just a quick 5 or 10 minute little, hey, look at this cool thing that I just did. So by maybe raise of hand with your reactions on the Zoom call, if that's something that sounds interesting to you, and you instantly kind of say, oh, you know what, I've got something I could share. It won't take long, and it's easy because it's only like 5 minutes, and you'd like to be able to share that with the group, please raise your hand if that's something that sounds interesting. Okay. And Clarissa, if you can help me capture some of these hand raises, that would be awesome. I see Samantha's got her physical hand up. Thanks for being on camera. Which is always nice. Jackie Askelson, it's good to see you. Jackie just raised her hand too, so she's got some Tibbet, I'm sure.
I don't even know what I'm raising my hand for, but sure, I'm interested. Sorry, Mike.
But we thought that might be an interesting way and a less, maybe a less scary way to actually do a full presentation. I know some people are very intimidated by public speaking. And this is kind of a easy way of doing it without having to feel like you have to fill 45 minutes or an hour. So thank you for those of you who have indicated interest in that. That's super helpful. And then the other thing that we talked about was the idea of trying to help people with soft skills. There's a lot of times we spend our sessions doing more technical things where we're teaching how to do something on the Salesforce platform, but that's only a part of what our jobs are. Frequently, especially as we get more advanced in our careers, there's a lot of soft skill issues that come up. How to deal with conflict, how to maybe help sell your idea, things along that line that we thought might be something that would be of interest to the group. And so we came up with a name called Salesforce Softies for that particular concept. What's your thoughts on that? If and again, you can either raise your hand if you like the idea or unmute and share some thoughts or feedback on doing something along that line. And if you hate an idea, feel free to say that too. That's our whole purpose here today, is to make sure we're finding content that would be helpful.
Hey, this is Angie. I'll just share that the soft skills is probably one of the key skills that I use when I'm getting my requirements together to figure out exactly what we need to solve. So being able to have the conversation and get to the real problem, I think that's a key part of our jobs.
I like that. Yeah. Requirement gathering is very, very applicable for something like that. I talk to my team frequently of how do you communicate even like a bad idea when a user comes to you and say, hey, we'd like to do this. And it's like you as a Salesforce admin saying, no, but how do you say that without being a roadblock? Those types of skills I think are super, super important for us as admins, and we're in them almost every day. Sometimes it feels like, so knowing how to respond to some of that, or how to say yes at the same time you're saying no to a certain extent. It's almost like we're redirecting the no to a better yes. Those kinds of skills I think would be really helpful. And it looked like from the feedback there that you all would agree with that. So that's another thing that we're looking to perhaps add to the 2 hour the quarterly meetings that we do. So that'd be our on-sites as our hybrid meetings. Cool. Clarissa, anything there that you want to add to that?
Nope, I think you covered it just fine.
Okay, cool. So then the next thing that I want to do is I want to see if I can get a poll of topics, if I can figure that out. Oh, there it is. And this is going to give you a chance to react to a variety of different topics. So one of them is going to be Flow, DevOps, Service Cloud, and you can just simply indicate on your answer your interest level in that. When you get through closer to the bottom or the last few questions, there is the opportunity then to also indicate if there's a topic that you're interested in that we didn't mention, and you can handwrite in a response for that. If there is a specific speaker that you would like to see, I'm happy to reach out to people. So if there's a name of somebody, you'd say, man, I'd really like to see that person show up. Let me know, and I will work to try to help with that. And then the other one that I think is really important is some of the feedback we've always had is you'd like to hear from people locally. And so if you are somebody who has a topic that you're willing to share in a full hour, then please let me know what your topic is and your name so that we can work that in. So I'm going to go ahead and share that poll or that and let you work on that. And then we'll go through the results. Hopefully you're seeing a poll come up. Sweet.
Don't forget to scroll down in the poll, by the way, when it pops up.
Yeah, there are several questions there. So I think for those of us who have done this for a while, it after a while, it starts to feel like we just did that topic before. It's like, do we need to repeat it? Those types of things are sometimes hard to judge, and none of those questions are required. So if you're not familiar with what the topic even is, feel free to just not answer on that question. That's totally fine. And I hope that we have a few brave people who would like to talk. That's always awesome. And if you are in that category of hey, this is really cool, I'd love to show it off, but you need some help with how do you go about doing that, I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one to kind of help you prepare your topic if that's something that you would like. I always think that part of it's kind of fun to figure out how do you take whatever the widget is that you want to show and turn that into a story that can be shared with the group. That for me, that's really the fun part. And I love working with you guys individually anyway. So it's a bonus for me. And I've got about 60% of you have finished that at this point. And I don't think that I can share visually the results with you all, but I can talk through them as we get the answers here. I'll just give you just another minute here. So about 73% of you have answered. That's not too bad. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say, I think I've got everybody. I don't see anything new coming in. So we've got, there's 20. Just got one more person that kicked one in. So here's what I'm seeing. I'll just go ahead and leave it up. If the rest of you are still working on it, feel free to finish it. So the first question was on the topic of flow. And I've got from a response on that, 50% of you are still interested in flow. So that was the third response. 25% of you can't wait to have more flow sessions. So we that's 75% of you still very interested in learning flow. I've got 10% of you who don't care anymore about flow. You're on that lower side of the fence there. So flow seems to still be of interest at 75% interested or can't wait. DevOps, 85% of you were in that 3 and 4 category there of interested and can't wait. Jerome, are you still with me? That might be.
I am.
That might be. Is that something that you're comfortable talking to?
No, I sure can.
That might be of interest to maybe tap you on the shoulder for that one.
Mm-hmm.
If you need any backup on that, I'd be happy to as well.
Oh, super. Thank you, Dylan. I love volunteers. All right. Service Cloud. Interested it's about 55%. So about half of you are you're on the border there. Flow Orchestrator was be 60%. In that interested or higher. The Well Architect, that one's, you've got 55% who can't wait to talk about that one. That'd be 80% overall interested or can't wait. OmniScript was not registered well, so only 30% of you interested in OmniScript. Slack was only 15%, so not a large interest in Slack, or integration with Slack basically kind of fell in exactly the same bucket. So that's good to know, because that was actually one that I was thinking might have some interest with some of the integration. So I'm glad you've corrected my thinking on that one. So that's good. Artificial intelligence, 55 plus 30, 55 plus 30, 85% of you are interested in artificial intelligence and how that could help you with your job. Marketing automation was at 60%. Einstein Analytics that'd be 80% of you interested in Einstein Analytics. So that would do. How many of you have Einstein Analytics in your org? Matt, you've got it. Okay. Chris, Karen, Tracy, Jerome. Okay, good to know. I think it's fascinating what I've seen done with it. I don't have access to it myself, but I think it's very, very cool what over just standard Salesforce reporting. Data Cloud was right down the middle, so 50%. 50% interested or above. That one I think is going to be interesting, especially in some of the larger orgs in the future. You might want to keep your eye on that one just because of its capabilities of pulling information together from various environments. So if you're in a small org where integrations, you're not dealing with that frequently, I could see that one maybe not being as high of an interest, but I think that's one to keep your eye on, whether we do a session on it or not. We'll kind of see. Shield, pretty low interest there. Only 40% of you would like to see more on Shield. And then for the industry clouds, 68% of you were interested in financial services, 21 in field services, which field services is pretty cool if you've not seen it. Some of its capabilities is neat. Education cloud was at 16%, manufacturing at 21%. The thing on the manufacturing cloud, I do quite a bit on that particular cloud. And what's interesting with manufacturing cloud is the way that they do account-based forecasting. So if you do any type of forecasting with your sales, manufacturing cloud, looking at how they handle forecasts is really probably in my mind, it's a little bit of a game changer in forecasting. I wish that they would just take that model and push it across all their clouds. It's very nice. Healthcare cloud, 16%, nonprofit at 47%. And of course, we do have a full nonprofit user group as well. And let's see, it does not show me what your breakdown of answers were for other topics that you'd be interested in. I'm not seeing that from this view. And same with speakers. So hopefully that's recorded somewhere where I can see those later. I'll be going to share. And several of you are interested in sharing. So thank you for that. Okay, cool. I'm going to close that. That is super, super helpful. Oh, okay, hang on. I can see the details here now that I've closed it. Okay, so here's some of the other topics that were of interest to several of you. How to manage development, or a survey of how many people use Jira or other software versus homegrown solutions, or nothing in particular. Interesting. If that sounds of interest to you, raise your hand if that's one that. So how do you manage it's almost like project management type. How do you keep track of everything? Okay. Best practices was listed. Interested in best practices to me are always I'm a little hesitant sometimes with best practice. The concept, every time I hear it, is one of those soapbox words that I tend to get up on, because best practices kind of depends on your situation. There are certainly some core best practices that fit regardless, but frequently are situational. Formulas, interested in formulas. We had Steve Moe actually did a formula session a couple years ago for us, and I know he would be more than happy to redo that or do one on formulas if that would be something of interest. Salesforce security best practices. Karen, was that you that mentioned that, Karen? I see your email address next to that. And so I was wondering if that was you that mentioned that, because my question there, would that be Salesforce security itself, or is that more, are you thinking more broad than just security out of the box? And I'm not hearing back from you. So, okay. Latest features. Okay. So release notes, basically following release notes and helping you be aware of what's going on there. Release updates also mentioned again. Yep, Justin used to do that for us. Yeah, very true. Free tools. So SOCWL Dev Console, things that help you organize as an admin was the other topic. Specific speakers that you like to hear from. TBC. I don't know what TBC is.
Probably Trailblazer community, if I had to guess.
Trailblazer community. Okay. Oh, okay. From us. Okay. Then somebody said me, love hearing from people at Salesforce. And then Carla Helen is mentioned. Yeah, Carla is awesome. I miss not having her involved in our user groups, but yeah, I can certainly see if I can get Carla to do something. Michelle Sticker person. Yes. So that's Michelle Hansen. Michelle Hansen, it would be an easy ask for me to be able to get someone like Michelle to come. Are you open to sharing topics? and several of you have given some indication there of being happy to do that. So your names will be noted, and we will absolutely reach out and see if we can't arrange that. For me personally, and for Carissa, it's just nice to be able to have another voice. For me, I know you guys, somebody evidently likes to hear from me, but I get tired of hearing myself talk frequently. So while I appreciate that, it's always nice having some other voices. So thank you so much for that. All right, I've got one more poll, and this one is specifically related to flow, and I want to get a feel for where you're at with flow specifically. And so that poll is now up, and I will let you kind of go through that. This one is definitely shorter. The question number 2, are you interested in more flow training? What I'm considering doing is putting together a separate meeting specifically around flow to help people learn flow. So it'd be if you've been a part of any of my study groups, it'll operate kind of more along that line, but it'll be more Terry teaching it versus you having to do research and teaching it like you would for a study group. But if that's something that you would be interested in, I might try to put that together. I feel like I need music or something to play.
Harry?
Yes, Pearl. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So I can see the words in number 3 after order the flow topic in order of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I see some words next to it, but it's being cut off. And then there are 0 to 4.
In the columns?
So would you mind just say it out so I can just gray it?
Yeah, the first column is you're not sure even what it is. So that's column 1. Column 2 is not so much, meaning you're not terribly interested. Column 3 was so. Column 4 is you're interested, and column 5 is you can't wait. So it's I don't know anything about it. Don't even know what you're talking about. And then it's low interest to high, left to right. What's interesting is the way that it comes in here for me to see it. It's all color coded, and it has nothing that tells me what those color codes mean. It's like a stacked bar of colors.
So you can say whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have no idea what. Hopefully when I end it, maybe it will give me a little bit more insight. And I'm going to go ahead and end that one now. Pearl, are you pretty close to having it ready to go? I'll let you finish it there if you need to. Just a couple more seconds.
I submitted it already.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you.
I'm going to go ahead and I've got 20 responses. That's what I had last time as well. So, all right. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, it says I can share the results. If I do that, do you see them? Oh, look at that. Terry needs to have a session on how to do Zoom meetings because that's pretty cool. I could have done that last time. All right. Comfort level with flow. Looks like most of you are starting to feel pretty good about it, which is awesome.
My mind is blown that there are people who don't use flow. Like I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
Well, it could be that they're just not doing that much admin work anymore. The role is just different.
Are people like Andy too busy doing manager things to be building flows?
You have people that do those things for you now. All right. So there's 15 of you who would actually be interested in doing some specific flow training. That's 83% of you. That's pretty good. That's pretty high. That would be enough to actually put a class together. If you all wanted to do that, I could maybe start thinking about that. That's going to take a little bit of effort on my part to put together. So give me a little bit of time for that. And it looks like on the topics section, if you hover over it, you can see what the color codes mean. And it looks like so orchestrate, that's at about 50%, and debug, how debugging your flows was high. It looks like you've got loops pretty well figured out now. That's awesome. If you haven't seen my card game for loops, let me know. I can show that to you if you're still confused on loops. Optimizing and architecting, that one had a fairly high level of interest. And that's where I am starting to see where I personally am concerned about people writing flows is I feel like people have a decent understanding of each component and how to use it now, but not necessarily how to architect the solution well. And so I see that as I would agree with the responses there, and this is just knowing how to build your flows more effectively. Fundamentals of creating flows, again, that it looks like you all mostly have that figured out. Good screen design, UX type things, data tables, about half, working with data, and then custom components. Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's super, super helpful. Any thoughts or questions, feedback on any of that you would like to be able to share? All right, Clarissa, any questions that you have or clarifications that might be helpful as we try to pull everything together?
I don't think so. We did get a couple of things popping into the chat periodically.
Okay.
Did have a suggestion about Teams integrations instead of Slack integrations.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that maybe being a potential topic. And then Dylan did want us to elaborate on what OmniScript is. Oh,
OmniScript. OmniScript is kind of a more powerful version of Flow, in my opinion. It was an acquisition with, I think it was with Velocity when Salesforce bought that, if I recall. It's in my opinion, it's a supercharged Flow version of Flow. It's one of those scenarios where Salesforce now has two different products that do basically the same thing, but OmniScript is much, much more powerful. Yeah, I think it would be, if we can pull it off, it might be an interesting one for you guys to at least see, kind of like Data Cloud. It's kind of one of those things. It's, you might not necessarily need it, but to be aware of it, it might be helpful. I think OmniScript is frequently a part of some of the industry clouds.
It looks like we have a lot of interest in that now that everyone knows what it is.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Community Cloud, Pearl. Yeah. I didn't throw that one in there primarily because we have done a couple sessions on Community Cloud in the past, which is why I left that one out. But good thought there. Jeff has a great Flow course that might be a good resource. Okay, I can reach out to them, Samantha. Thank you. Cool, nice, awesome. Thank you guys for that feedback. I think that is all that I have. I know we've got our dates kind of figured out. Clarissa is going to be out some this over probably the second quarter, so you'll be stuck with just me. So apologize for that up front. We are going to try to do a salary survey. Joseph isn't on the call. He normally runs that for us. We're going to reach out and see if he will do another salary survey for us. We'll probably try to get that done in April of the first half of the year. We know that we have Midwest Streaming and Dreamforce on our calendars, and so we are going to work our sessions around those two specifically. Other than that, I think that's all I have. And of course, we'll do the holiday party at the end of the year, as we did. As we always have done.
Did we like the holiday party at Terry's house? Just we assumed we did, but if anyone feels differently, speak now.
I did ask Clarissa that specifically. It's like if it's uncomfortable for you to come to somebody's house, I'm totally fine with not hosting it. I'm also fine with having you all here. So either way is good for me. All right. Any other feedback or anything that you'd like to share with the group that might be helpful for you? Our goal is to try to make these meetings beneficial. Everybody happy? You feel like you have a voice? That's what I want to make sure. All right, everybody. Then have a great rest of your day. I'm glad that it's starting to warm up. For those of you in Des Moines or have suffered through the snowstorm, I'm happy that we're all still here. So very good. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next month.
You too, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Right,
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.